Welcome to a special bonus episode of the Leadership Buzz with Lloyd Buzzell, ICF credentialed coach and retired Air Force officer. This podcast is for leaders who want to align behavior with values and grow in self-awareness. Most defining moments in life are not built in the moment itself. They are shaped over years through values, experiences, hardship, mentors, faith, and the daily choices that form our character. In this short bonus episode, Buzz reflects on 3 defining moments from his own life and leadership journey and what they taught him about resilience, service, and leadership under pressure. Work hard. Tell the truth. Here's Buzz.
Thanks for listening to this bonus episode of the Leadership Buzz, Work Hard, Tell the Truth. And I just wanted to relate some defining moments because for our leaders and leadership, I think some of those things happen and we don't even realize how they're going to affect us in the future and how we recognize those. The first one I wanted to mention was happened to me in the summer of 1983. I was 21 years old and it was very, very hot and humid summer in New Hampshire. I was currently working the second shift at this large nuclear power plant construction site in New Hampshire in Seabrook. And that construction site had a lot of people working there in the evening. It was a massive construction project. The nuclear power was not on site yet, but we were actually building the site. One building was called the containment building. At the bottom of that containment building would be where all the nuclear rods and all the nuclear energy would be put down there to be used to generate the site. It was a huge structure, and the side of that, it was like a dome site, and the large opening in that structure was a side for the equipment. So down in the bottom of that containment building were pipes everywhere, tight places, many places where you really couldn't even stand up. It was hard to move around. Sometimes you even had to crawl around. It was really a dangerous environment. So one night when I was on shift in the evening, there was a call that went out. And of course, it was really hot and humid that night, and someone was seriously hurt at the bottom of the containment buildings. So as the workers showed up at the containment building, the scene was that it was evening, it was dusk, and we were really near the seawall. So there was steam blowing all the way across the structure in front of it, along with a light breeze from the ocean. And it was just kind of rolling through the site. The construction lights had already kind of come on in that nighttime atmosphere at dusk, and there just was a lot of noise going on. Now, let me tell you about Red. Red was a general foreman. So everybody on the site wore a different colored helmet depending on what their situation was or where they worked. Electricians wore yellow, pipe fitters wore blue, laborers wore red, and so on. Now, Red was a general foreman. He wore a gold hat. That gold hat signified that he supervised the other foremans and supervised any other gold hat that was on site during the shift also. He had a red beard, hence why he was called Red, but he also had a tough personality. He was demanding but very restricted. He could push workers really hard, but then also he would care for them deeply by helping them out. Now, Red, he went down into that containment area and he ended up carrying that worker out over his shoulder. And as I said, the steam was blowing across the structure, and as he walks out, the EMTs arrive. The crowd erupted into cheers, and he laid this guy down onto a gurney. It was a situation that was much like the Top Gun flight deck from the movie with Maverick. I know I'm probably overstating it, but it really was a dramatic moment. The realization the crowd wasn't just cheering just because he saved someone, and that was important. But then they knew he would do that for any of them. And not just do it for any of them, but put their needs in front of his needs. And that was kind of the key thing. That was really the first time I'd really seen leadership look like that up close. I'd seen it in the movies, but when I saw it in person, when I saw a person carrying out that type of sacrifice, that type of courage and servant leadership, and putting his team first in front of his own needs, and not just doing it then, but doing it all the time. I just never seen leadership look like that before. And that's really kind of how I wanted to model that leadership afterwards. The second moment was an extremely hot day, another very humid day, and it was a Sunday afternoon. My dad wanted to golf, and typically me and my brother and him would go golfing. We needed a fourth golfer, so I went over and asked the neighbor Dennis to join us. And when we went to golfing that night, it was getting more and more hot and humid. Along about the fifth hole, we teed off, and my dad looked over at me and just said, "Nice shot, good job." As we walked up the fairway, and it was a slight incline going up on the fifth hole, that little fairway, he passed out, and on that small rise in the hill, he collapsed and he died of a heart attack. The ambulance arrived, and I rode with the EMTs and him down to the hospital. But when we got there, we realized my dad had passed away. At that moment, I realized in the waiting room, waiting for my mom to come to be able to explain to her that her husband had passed away and my dad had died, was that I was now the father. And I just remember walking up and down that hallway in golf shoes with metal cleats and that clacking on the floor, just pacing back and forth. And that sound is just stuck in my memory as a realization that at 21, I am now a dad, the dad, and I had no degree, little money, and really no clear direction at the time. And life had to become more purposeful and responsibility had become real. And really, hardship deepened perspective. Leadership became personal, and my family responsibility became real. With very little money left in the bank for us and us kind of struggling that summer, it was really super hot every single day that I remember it. And one afternoon, I was kind of sitting out on the stoop with my son, who was about 9 months old, and our neighbor came over and asked what I was doing. He was the fourth golfer with us that day. And I said, "Well, I'm having a beer." And he's like, "No, I'm not talking about drinking a beer. What are you doing?" And I had to admit I was struggling. I didn't have enough money for college, and my job was kind of going nowhere at the time. Well, what I didn't tell you was Dennis was a tech sergeant in the U.S. Air Force that lived next door. He sat down with me a few times and talked about the possibilities of the U.S. Air Force and those education opportunities, along with technical development and a future. It would provide stability and service to our country. At the moment, I was feeling pretty lost, and that construction job seemed like there was no roadmap and no direction with little opportunity. I think Dennis saw that potential in me, and he helped mentor me to be able to help join the Air Force. That decision launched the next 40 years, and combined with my dad passing away and with the scene I had exhibited at the construction site, lasted the entire rest of my Air Force career. And that reflection is about leadership and service, education, mission, also coaching and based on faith and purpose, that work hard, tell the truth. This was really a connection to my parents and my faith. That integrity my parents instilled in me, along with my work ethic based on that faith. And that really goes to resilience and perseverance. Those defining moments are not built in the moment in itself. They are shaped slowly over time through values, hardship, mentors, experiences, faith, and responsibility. What moments are shaping your life today, and which ones do you recognize immediately, and which ones only become clear years later? What defining moment may be happening right now?
Buzz, what are your 3 big takeaways for others from your defining moments?
Thanks, TJ. My 3 big lessons that I took away from that hot summer of 1983 was that leadership meant putting the needs of others ahead of my own as a servant leader. Watching Red carry that injured worker out of the containment building showed me what leadership really looked like for the first time up close. Courage, responsibility, and service while presence under pressure. A second one was responsibility changes you. As my father passed away, I realized life was no longer just about me. I was now the dad, the husband, the leader of my own family. That moment focused me to grow up quickly and think differently about purpose and direction. And finally, membership and opportunity can change the trajectory of a life. One conversation with Dennis about the Air Force opened a door that shaped the next 40 years of my life. Sometimes people influence us more than they will ever know. The few conversations with Dennis influenced me for the next 40 years, and I very much appreciated that, and it shaped my life. There are some people that would say, "Hey, I just don't want to say the wrong thing by telling people and helping somebody to either coach or mentor them, but I truly believe that if you're speaking from the heart, you can't be wrong.
In this special bonus episode, Buzz reflected on 3 defining moments from the summer of 1983 that shaped his understanding of leadership, responsibility, service, and purpose. Through hardship, mentorship, loss, and difficult decisions, those moments helped launch a journey that would influence the next 4 decades of his life and leadership and continue to define him today through his faith and his commitment to serving others. Work hard, tell the truth. Over to you, Buzz.
Hey, thanks for listening to the special episode of the Leadership Buzz podcast, Work Hard, Tell the Truth. And I hope you got something out of it today. Please leave any feedback, subscribe, or just link up with me on LinkedIn or follow me on my website, workhardtellthetruth.com. Until next time, work hard, tell the truth.